Hey, everybody. I'm Kathy Kellenberger, along with Mala Mahadevan, and we are leaders of the Women in Tech group. And today we've got Tracy Baggiano with us. She is one of the pre-con speakers for the PASS Data Community Summit that's coming up in November. So, Tracy, just tell us a little bit about yourself, first of all.
I'm a database administrator for over 20 years, and I like to do a lot of volunteer work with foster kids, and I like to teach a lot of classes because I go around presenting a lot, and unfortunately the pandemic hasn't let me travel, but it's allowed me to do more virtual things.
Very cool. So what's the title of your presentation and what's it about?
It's Azure SQL Fundamentals, and it kind of takes you from A to Z on Azure, starting with the basics of starting with Azure SQL DB, Azure Managed Instances, and Azure VMs. And it'll take you from the basics, going through security, performance, high availability, and a couple other sections that I can't remember right now.
That's okay.
Because I don't have it in front of me.
That's okay. So yeah, Azure SQL has a lot to it. And even if you just look at like one area, there's like this hyperscale. Are you going to get into some of these?
Yeah, hyperscale, serverless, and that's kind of covered in the first section so that you get a basic overview of it. And that way it doesn't go in depth into it because it's a fundamentals section, a fundamentals course,
Okay.
but at least gets you an overview of everything that you would need to get started in Azure SQL DB and the whole platform in there, because they consider VMs and managed instances as part of Azure DB as well. And then it'll go through best practices on each environment as well as you go through it. And then I'm going to do an automation on how to do things at the very end so that you can kind of get, into PowerShell or the Azure client app too, so that you can automate some of the tasks you would be doing. Because hopefully we won't spend too much time in the Azure portal because that takes too long. That's a whole bunch of clicking around and stuff. We will do some of that, but we won't do a lot of it because we will do some of it because that's the easy way to do things, but we won't do a lot of it because you want to automate it, as much as you can.
Makes sense.
So as somebody who's not on the Azure environment yet, would it help me make a decision on if this is right for me, like help me understand all the options that are out there and such?
The very first module will be going over that, telling you which section, which one is best for you, because like going to VMs is a very easy shift and lift option.
Right.
And managed instances is not so much the whole lift and shift, but it's the next closest thing. And then Azure SQL DB is kind of the more limited version, but it will give you the options and which ones would be best and how you would determine that. And of course, at the end there'll be links to help you go out and decide that in more detail. And of course, price it out because you got to save some money or figure out how much it's going to save your company or how much it's going to cost in the end.
Yeah, you've really got to be careful because you can have, I've had like little AdventureWorks sample database set up as an Azure SQL database, and I was shocked at how much it costs. But then there's options like the serverless that are really helpful.
Trust me, I did that with my MVP money last year. I sucked it all up within like months, and I had no idea why until it was pretty much gone, because they didn't notify you until it was like pretty much gone. So it's like you got to be careful with costing, and there's alerts you can set up to tell you once you spend so much money so that you can keep an eye on things and things like that. So you don't have to panic over how much money you spend. Know your budget and set it up ahead of time.
So maybe somebody who's in a decision-making role, like a manager or a team lead or somebody, it would help that person to attend, right? To understand that these are the options here, and if he wants to talk to the management on whatever decision they have to make, it would help in that regard too. You think?
Yes, it would.
Yeah. Not necessarily just a DBA.
Not necessarily a DBA, because like I said, once you get into security, you'd want to know the comfort level that, somebody can't get into your system, once you get into performance, you want to know that you can monitor things and know whether you're getting the best performance out of it, like you did when you had things on premise. And what you want to make sure you got your HADR stuff that you had when you had it on premise. So you want to know that overall arching aspect that the class is going to cover. So as a manager, you're going to want to see that overarching aspect, that not necessarily that the DBA needs to know in detail, but the DBA will get enough details out of the class as well that the manager would get an overarching view on. So it kind of hits both aspects of it. The manager might get a tad bit more than they wanted, but
it's true. So I think it's really, really important topic these days.
Yes.
Because so many companies are moving to hybrid environments and just cloud environments, and that's really the future. So I think this is a great session to have, and people will get a lot out of it. And one of the really cool things is that the price is very reasonable. It's only $200 for the pre-con.
Yep.
And you get a whole day of Tracy, sharing her knowledge and experience. And I think it's going to be fantastic.
I do too. In fact, I heard Bob Ward say on a podcast some time ago that somebody actually took one of the Azure 101 tests and landed a job, even though they had no prior Azure experience. So I see it as something similar. Like if you want to, get in the door with Azure, then maybe this would definitely be a good start to say you attended a day-long class on all the fundamentals, and now at least what is what. You're not a total beginner. You know where to start with it.
Yeah, and the slide decks will be available, and with lots of links to help you out with getting into more details and reading all the resources that I came up with to put the slide deck together. So
fantastic.
So that's going to be a long section at the end, or in the details at the bottom, one of the two. Because I've got them at the bottom, but they may end up at the end to make it easier to find.
Do you have anything else, Mala?
No, that will be all. I think I would be excited to attend as newbie into the Azure world. And I heard Tracy's going to give away all her the money she's going to make out of it to a good cause. So that makes it even more appealing to me.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm getting it to a foster care charity here in North Carolina that helps foster care families and foster children that have aged out of the system.
Awesome.
So I figure out, why not give it to a good cause? It's not costing me any money to go to the conference, so I might as well put it to good use.
Fantastic. So I think that wraps it up for this interview. And thank you so much, Tracy, for joining us. It's been a lot of fun chatting. And we'll see everybody at the PASS Data Community Summit and at Tracy's Pre-Con.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
Thank
See
you.
you there.
Bye.